What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing us a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And we have a ton of stuff to talk about in today's episode, so let's get into it. Grand Theft Auto 6 is one of the most anticipated games, I think, in recent times, and a lot of people are extremely excited about this game, and even though it hasn't even been announced officially yet by Rockstar Games. And so I think today one thing that we've been doing on the YouTube channel has been talking about GTA 6 and kind of speculating what could be and what, if the game does come out, where it could take place and things of that nature. Well, in this segment of the show, I want to talk about everything we know so far about Grand Theft Auto 6, or GTA 6 for short. So let's talk about it. In an article from Dexterdo and Ross Deason of Dexterdo, Grand Theft Auto 6 is somehow leading the charge as 2020's most highly anticipated game, despite still not being announced by Rockstar Games. GTA 5 was released on previous generation consoles back in 2013, meaning that fans have had to wait longer than ever before for a new game, and with that building expectancy has also come impatience. Everybody's looking for clues about what comes next. So I think, guys, when we look at Grand Theft Auto 5 as a game, one of the reasons why Rockstar Games most likely has not released GTA 6 up to this point is quite simple. They're still making money off of GTA 5. There's no reason for them, or hasn't been a reason for them to move onwards from GTA 5 because they've been so successful with GTA 5 and GTA Online, obviously introducing that in GTA 5, and then also with Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online as well. So it's almost like, why would they need to make a GTA 6 at this point? Well, obviously, the speculation is growing that they are planning on making a GTA 6, but I don't know if we're going to see it anytime in the really near future. There has always been a gap of around 4 or 5 years between Grand Theft Auto titles, but for that pattern to have held true, the new game would have been due for release in 2018. 2 years later, the community is still waiting. The release of next-generation consoles would be the ideal time for a game such as GTA 6 to launch, and there have been hints about a 2020 release. Specifically, Gameware from Austria, a retailer that is previous for leaking launch dates, had multiple GTA 6 listings with a release date for some point in 2020. Now look, there's been tons of leaks, tons of rumors, guys. Most of them up to this point have been false. And I gotta say, I think that this particular leak from Gameware from Austria is false as well. Here's why. I feel that Rockstar is going to want to build that hype. So they might release a trailer this year, like a sneak peek, maybe even just a, just like a title screen or something, like a shot of GTA 6, but with not giving us a release date of when it's coming out. I actually think it probably, if it got announced this year, we probably wouldn't see it until 2021, more likely than not 2022. That would just be my personal opinion when you look at AAA titles and how long it takes, and then of course a lot of these delays that have been coming out. It's got to be something that you have to really take into consideration. It's an interesting question when we talk about the GTA 6 map and where it's going to be set, maybe more so than any other time in the franchise's history. Most recent titles have been located in North America, although there has been talk of Rockstar completely shaking things up next time to refresh the series. There's no doubt that many fans would like to see a return of San Andreas or even Vice City, but which are the most likely destinations based on what we know so far? So if you were to ask me, guys, San Andreas or Vice City would be great, but I'd also like to see, I don't know. I mean, there's a number of places around the country that I wouldn't mind seeing. London was actually thought to be an early candidate, but recent leaks and rumors have put a dampener on this theory. GTA 6 map locations vary from London, Miami, to a new location such as Chicago or even Bogota, Colombia. There are a plethora of fan ideas doing the rounds, but nothing has actually been given the green light. So, this would be interesting. I don't think that they should do Chicago. London, probably not. There's a Watch Dogs Legion is going to be based in London, so I probably wouldn't want to see another kind of open world game, even though Grand Theft Auto is much bigger than that of Watch Dogs. Miami, I think, would be really cool. I think Miami would be really neat. A return to Vice City could also be on the cards, with some members of the game's online community believing there were hints about it broadcasted during the 2020 Super Bowl. During the event, Fox used the classic GTA Vice City HUD to present the kickoff time, while the BBC used the classic font as well. In the case of San Andreas, there hasn't been many clues that would lead to its return just yet. So when is the announcement coming? A number of job listings from Rockstar North have been picked up by fans of the series, starting with character costume and wardrobe stylists, with the developer looking for someone with a deep appreciation of the history and cultural importance which clothing plays in society, from past eras to modern global street styles and trends. This may be an indicator that GTA 6 will take place across multiple decades and locations. Which, if they did that, I think that would be an interesting take on Grand Theft Auto. I feel like what's made the series so special is that each game kind of has a different story, different kinds of narratives, and so I think if they did that with GTA 6, it'd be very different, but it might not be a bad change, to say the least. It might actually be, it might be a good thing, but it's really hard to say. We'll have to kind of wait and see when we find out further information. There's been some other possible teasers, including in the developer's Christmas gift to influencers. The contents of the gift surfaced on social media and showcased a previously never before seen Rockstar logo patch that was themed in the flag of Colombia. With Bogota, the Colombian capital, a rumored location for GTA 6, it could be the biggest hint yet. That would be very interesting, obviously, if they had it in Bogota, Colombia. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Let's put it that way. A statement from Rockstar was released following a successful festive season, which saw a record number of players recorded, might well have included some sort of teaser as well. Rockstar's statement says, there is still much more to come in 2020. Next up for GTA Online is the addition of an open-wheel racing series featuring all new vehicle types with tense, high-speed, track-based racing where tight cornering, tactical tire choices, and perfectly timed pit stops make every second count. Plus, expect more big updates and a few surprises as we move forward into the year. So, look, obviously they're not giving away that much in that statement, but at the same time, there's going to be some surprises and things that we can look forward to in the year. So I think that we'll probably get an announcement later on in 2020. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. We could get like a really cool announcement near the very end of the year, moving us into 2021. Who knows, guys? Who knows? I think that these are all clues and possibilities, and a lot of people there's just, the speculation is running wild at this point. Some GTA fans also think they have found potential evidence of GTA 6 related videos being uploaded to the official Rockstar Games YouTube channel, though they have not been made public just yet. As seen in the tweet from Rockstar Mag, the number of videos posted publicly on the channel is lower than the amount actually uploaded. Could that mean an announcement trailer is coming soon? Potentially, but very much a long shot at this stage. And I agree with that. I think it's a long shot. So what will the GTA story be? There's a lot of speculation about the number of playable characters in GTA 6. Will there be one main character or multiple characters like we saw in GTA 5? A rumor shared by the Daily Star states that Rockstar could do something they have never done before and introduce a leading female character in GTA 6. However, it's difficult to know just how accurate that is. Another rumor, reported by TechnoBez, suggests that Rockstar might head in a completely new direction. Apparently, GTA 6 could switch to team campaign missions, adding an all-new element of co-op play. Whether or not that will be included remains to be seen. Developers didn't include anything similar in Red Dead Redemption 2, despite the protagonist being a part of a large posse. Now, what I will say about this, guys, it'd be interesting to see that come into GTA 6. I also, personally, like it more when you only play as one character. I can tell you guys this. When I played GTA 5 the first time around for the first playthrough, I loved playing as Michael, but I didn't really, Franklin and Trevor, I didn't really enjoy their storylines as much as I liked Michael's. And I don't know why that was, but I kind of would have liked to see the story from the standpoint of only playing as Michael the entire time, or as just one of those characters the entire time. I think Trevor would have gotten a little bit annoying after a while, and I think Franklin could have worked, of course, as well, but I think them switching it up, it was interesting. It was an interesting style, and I'm glad that they tried that. I don't know, though. I feel like having just one person that you're playing as, and then when you come to the multiplayer and co-op modes and things of that nature, you can, of course, expand the players that you can play as, or the characters that you can play as. But I think with GTA 6, I'd like to just play as one player. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that in the comment section below. So, does GTA 5 tell us anything about GTA 6? As already noted, there have been players who are searching high and low throughout GTA 5 and its GTA Online multiplayer counterpart, and the hope that Rockstar has left them some clues. One of the most recent discoveries came through an in-game advert that offered citizens of Los Santos the chance to earn 6 figures by flying to and from South America. Of course, it's an obvious joke about becoming a drug runner, but the developers have done similar jokes previously with GTA 4. As part of GTA Online Diamond Heist update, fans also thought they might have discovered a potential release date of October 2020 going by in-game clues. Of course, there's no telling if this is the case, but we can add it to the long list of hints and leaks about a release date we have so far. So at this point, I think Rockstar is actually trolling a lot of people. They just kind of are doing this. They're just trying to build that hype. And once they start giving everyone some clues, I would say, guys, we probably will be hearing something about GTA 6 from Rockstar this year. And then we probably won't see the game for another year or two, at least, in my opinion. They're going to want to build that hype for a long, dragged-out period of time, releasing trailers and things of that nature, and how they're going to make the game even, bigger and better as we go. Because at this point, GTA 5 is still a massive game. How much better can they really get with GTA 6? I think with the graphics and, story-wise and things of that nature, I think it could be absolutely massive. But I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to see most in GTA 6? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more content and videos based around GTA 6, stay right here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about LA Noire and the future of the franchise, but we want to talk about in this segment, what happened to LA Noire. And due to what happened to the game, whether we want to look at it from a positive standpoint or a negative standpoint, how does this affect the future of the franchise moving forward, and would Rockstar ever revisit this franchise to make a second game? So let's talk about it. So guys, obviously, we're not going to go through what LA Noire is, because if you're here watching this video, you know very well LA Noire and the style of game and kind of all of those things, right? Detective, thriller. It was really a relaxing game in my personal opinion. I thought that it was very relaxing to actually play. There were times though that you had to pay significant attention, but it was a very good game. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that overall, for what it was, a different new IP for Rockstar, I thought it was very well done. Now, as far as the sales of this game are concerned, on the day of the game's US release, shares in Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar Games' parent company, closed up 7.75% on the day, a 3-year high for the company. The rise was attributed to the positive reviews that LA Noire had been receiving. In the last available figures from February 2012, the game had shipped almost 5 million copies. Now, part of this, guys, is Rockstar Games as a company. Any game they bring out at this point is probably going to sell a lot of copies because they just have that reputation at this point. Whether they bring out a Bully 2 at some point, they bring out a Max Payne 4, an LA Noire 2, obviously GTA or Red Dead Redemption, or a brand new IP like LA Noire was, I think that we can probably rest assured that they're going to do pretty well. According to NPD Group, LA Noire was the best-selling game in the United States in May of 2011 at 899,000 copies across the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. LA Noire went straight to the top of the UK charts and became the fastest-selling new intellectual property in the UK, a record it held until the 2014 release of Watch Dogs. It stayed top of the UK game chart for 3 weeks. In Australia, video game stores in major cities reported that the game was going out of stock after a week. LA Noire was released in Japan on July 7th and sold a combined 71,057 units on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The PlayStation 3 version topped the chart with 58,436 units sold, and the Xbox 360 version moved 12,621 units. So what we can say about that, guys, is with LA Noire, it's been a long time since we saw a sequel, which Rockstar Games has been known to take a long time for sequels, right? I mean, this game came out a number of years ago, and we're still waiting for a possible sequel, or will we see a sequel? Rockstar has stated that they would be interested in a or in a LA Noire 2. But the question is will we ever see that? Will we see a second game in the franchise when they have these other big juggernaut games like that of GTA and Red Dead in particular, but also even Max Payne? LA Noire as a new IP did incredibly well. I'm hoping that they don't completely put it on the wayside. I think when we can talk about like what happened to LA Noire is that really it's just on the back burner at this point, and it's probably something that Rockstar has been kind of revisiting. However, the game was very expensive to make according to Rockstar. Now, as far as a possible sequel is concerned, on May 22nd, 2011, McNamara said that a sequel to LA Noire would take less than 5 years it took to develop the first, as the technology already exists. He also stated that they were considering using the motion scan technology for full body performances rather than only faces. The same week, in an investor conference call, Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick said that LA Noire was a very successful release and that they have every reason to believe that LA Noire is another strong franchise for this company. He reiterated that they do see LA Noire as a powerful new franchise. So that's telling you right there, there is a significant chance that we could see a second one just because of the success of this first game. Obviously, it looks like they're working on GTA 6 at this very moment and maybe a Max Payne 4 after that. But LA Noire 2 might not be too far down the road, and it might be, a lot closer than you might think. Now, during an investor call in November of 2011, Zelnick reiterated the importance of the game to Take-Two, stating that the game has become an important franchise for the company. He announced that the game was Take-Two's most successful new release in the past fiscal year and has become a key property in its portfolio. Also in November 2011, it was announced that McNamara's next game would be titled Whore of the Orient, described as one of the great untold stories of the 20th century. It was to be developed by KMM Interactive Entertainment, a studio set up by Kennedy Miller Mitchell after acquiring most Team Bondi assets in 2011, but was confirmed to be canceled on June 2016. Now, you got to take this with a pinch of salt, guys, because of how long ago these investor calls were. I mean, we're looking November 2011, guys. I mean, we're in 2020 at this point. So you got to look at it from the standpoint of it was a long time ago. And then we're going to go 1 year after that. On February 13th, 2012, Rockstar Games announced numerous fan questions about their games, including a question regarding the future of the LA Noire franchise. Rockstar said that they are considering what the future may hold for LA Noire as a series, adding that they don't always rush to make sequels. They also announced that no further DLC or additional content will be developed for the current edition. In March of 2013, Carl Slatiff, Chief Operating Officer of Take-Two Interactive, revealed that the company has an extensive pipeline of unannounced titles in development and mentioned that the LA Noire franchise was important to the company. So, if we think about this, LA Noire 2 very well might already be in very early development. Because when Carl Slatiff said this, I mean, this was back in March of 2013, so this was a while back. Now, maybe he was talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. He was talking about, GTA 6, or he was talking about Bully 2 or Max Payne 4. It's very hard to say, but I think what we can expect, guys, is, generally speaking with Rockstar Games, they take their time with making games. It's just a fact. They take their time, right? They announce something, and usually a couple years later it comes out, and then they take a year or so off, and then another game comes out, or is announced, and then a couple years after that it comes out. So they really just tend more now than ever to take their time. And so I think, guys, what happened in LA Noire is that nothing that wasn't like it just self-destructed, or it wasn't like something that, was a bad release for Rockstar Games. It was a very positive release for them, but it's also a franchise that's going up against, the likes of GTA 6 or GTA as a whole, Red Dead Redemption, Max Payne. There's only so much that you can do against some of those juggernaut franchises that Rockstar also owns. Now, if LA Noire was being developed by some smaller studio, we probably would have seen a couple of more games at this point. It's hard to say, but I really believe that if you have this really good, successful game, Rockstar is just that big of a company that they can, they just take their time and they just try to really make games to the best of their ability, and they come up with games that are knocked out of the park. That being said, though, guys, I think an LA Noire 2 is probably a couple of years away at least, but it's hard to say. I mean, maybe, the game that hasn't been announced yet by Rockstar is LA Noire 2. I think everything's pointing to GTA 6, though. So for those of you who love LA Noire, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but I think it's definitely something that might be closer than you think. What do you guys want to see, though, in LA Noire 2 and the future of LA Noire? And what do you guys think happened? Do you guys think that this is a franchise that is being worked on? Do you guys think it's not being worked on? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more LA Noire 2 based content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Another one of my most anticipated games of the year is a game that's coming out in holiday of 2020, and I'm planning on making a lot more content around this game, guys, because it's called Outriders, from the makers of course, Gears of War Judgment, as well as Bulletstorm, and these guys over at People Can Fly are a developer that they take some chances, but they also make some very interesting games that tend to be something that I think are actually very underrated. And I'm really excited about their new game called Outriders. It reminds me a lot of Gears of War, and just as somebody who is a massive fan of the Gears of War franchise, this makes me really excited. It feels like a spiritual successor to Destiny and Gears of War. According to Kotaku, it's a mix of Destiny and Heart of Darkness, but it certainly has that Gears of War vibe to it. I love it. It really looks like Gears of War, but with abilities. Your characters have abilities, and that's what looks so intriguing to me. I really think that Outriders is going to be something really special. So let's talk about it. In an article written by Ethan Gack of Kotaku, he says that Outriders' art makes it seem like a grittier ripoff of Destiny, but having played the game for a couple hours, it feels more like Gears of War mixed with Mass Effect. It occasionally reminded me of a James Cameron sizzle reel, the bucolic paradise of Avatar giving way to the bloody horror of Aliens, occasionally punctuated by the heroic carnage of Terminator. There's some truth in each of these comparisons, though none of them feels entirely fair. We made an effort to not look at and draw from specific sources. Outriders lead writer Joshua Rubin tells me when I ask him about the inspiration behind the latest game from People Can Fly, best known for Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. When we were in those hotel rooms working on developing the story, we were like, let's throw all of our references out the window. Let's do something really original. Still, that didn't stop him from later telling me that one of the best ways to think of Outriders was Diablo with guns. And so I can see this, but man, it just feels, this game really feels to me like a Gears of War, but with abilities. And that is something that I'm really excited to explore. And I don't think enough people are talking about this game, guys. I mean, I know this is coming out holiday 2020. There's not a official release date as of yet, but it's going to be coming out on the Xbox Series X, PS5, but it's also going to be coming out on the, Xbox One and PS4 as well. I like what I'm hearing about it, and I like hearing from People Can Fly that they're trying to do something really original. Also, that this is a full package deal. This is something that sounds like it's going to have multiplayer, it's going to have a campaign mode, and it might even have co-op modes and things of that nature. It looks like this could be a full package, which is what I've always said I love when I go to pay for a $60 game, I want a full package. So To the release this season on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the next-gen systems, Outriders is a third-person post-apocalyptic sci-fi loot shooter that pitches itself as more of a traditional story-based role-playing game than a multiplayer-centric experience. There's three-person co-op, but the developers told me the game isn't about rerunning the same missions over and over again. I spent 2 hours playing Outriders at PAX East doing things I've done in plenty of other recent games. I gunned down legions of mostly faceless people who were inexplicably intent on killing me. Sometimes I blew them up with my strange glowy mutant powers. Often their lifeless corpses left behind a new assault rifle or helmet I could equip to boost my stats and make even more deadly for the next encounter. Earth is Dead reads the first bit of text that appears on the screen during Outriders' prologue. Having decimated the planet's ecosystem, humanity seeks refuge in the stars. They eventually find a new planet, Enoch, that might be just perfect for supporting life. The instincts for profit and exploration or exploitation that resulted in humanity's exile also haunt them on their new home, where the humans discover a strange anomaly on it that kills most people who come into contact with it. So the story also seems pretty fleshed out, guys. It really seems like a story that's going to be really interesting. I was a little bit concerned, when I was looking at some of the characters. I was thinking, I was wondering, are these characters going to be relatable in certain ways? A lot of them look like almost like mutants, or they have mutated, arms that are now like robotic and things of that nature. But I think that's all a part of the world. That's showing us like some kind of post-apocalyptic world that they are living in, and really trying to survive, essentially, all of the different creatures and the elements of Enoch. So within the first hour of the Outriders build I played, lush green valleys underneath bright blue skies gave way to dirt-filled battlefields that were indistinguishable from mass graves. After falling into cryo-sleep at the end of the prologue, my created character awakens decades later to find herself in a Mad Max-like hellscape where two separate factions of humanity have been warring over Enoch's scarce resources. Her role in this zero-sum conflict is unclear, but in traditional role-playing game fashion, my first couple missions consisted of rescuing old allies and repelling enemy raids. A sprawling encampment provided a home base with vendors to buy new gear from, and the occasional non-player character to collect a side quest from. So I'm excited that there's going to be, of course, side quests as well as like that kind of linear story. Sounds like it might be like a semi-open world game, which would be really awesome as well. Just more and more ways that you can connect with the franchise and with the game. That's why I loved with Gears 5 when they made it a semi-open world game. I loved that we were able to kind of explore more. Like after the main story was done, you could kind of explore things more. You wouldn't necessarily just, get bored after, playing the campaign a few times through within a linear experience. You can actually have other things that you can do. And that's what it sounds like with Outriders. So, from what it looks like, guys, there were the only, while these were the only abilities I had time to explore in the demo, each class has access to a large skill tree that's subdivided into 3 branches, potentially allowing for a higher degree of build customization than in some other loot shooters, as well as letting players take on unique roles within the 3-person multiplayer squads available for all of the game's missions. During the demo, though, I played alongside 2 other people, and we spent most of our time firing at will. The chaos was satisfying to be a part of, but also occasionally hard to follow, because many of the enemies seemed to throw themselves at us head on. It felt at times more like working in a slaughterhouse than battling for our lives. So there were times where I was looking at this game, and I thought to myself that it looked a little chaotic at times, but at the same time, I felt like it looked pretty fleshed out. Like it wasn't like super close quarters. Now, obviously, some of the maps might be super close quarters, which would be very interesting. And it seems like with a lot of the abilities, it'll be interesting to see how those things go. But obviously, guys, when you talk about demos, the developers are giving the demos out to people to play, and then obviously getting feedback from these reviewers, as well as people who are writing articles and things of that nature. So it's obviously still a long ways off. We're not going to get the game until a holiday of 2020. So I think there's still things that they're trying to flesh out. Now, Outriders does have two things that help set it apart from other loot shooters like Destiny 2 and Borderlands 3. The first is how health recovery works. Characters automatically heal a little bit when they successfully kill an enemy, rather than having health recharge slowly over time or from health packs dropped on the battlefield. This forces you to stick more closely to the game's Gears of War style cover system, sprinting between barricades or around the perimeter of a fight rather than diving and guns blazing and retrieving once you get hurt. The second is Outriders' difficulty system, which is called World Tier cards. By the way, that's such a sick name. These cards affect how difficult enemies are and how good the loot they drop will be. Higher level cards mean harder fights and better rewards, but instead of accessing these higher difficulty tiers by leveling up your character and getting stronger, People Can Fly says they're unlocked simply by playing better. That means killing enemies faster, taking less damage, and comboing your abilities with allies will help you work toward unlocking the next world tier. Developers wouldn't go into detail about how the game calculates and tracks players' improvement, but it's certainly a novel form of progression compared to the power grid that players have become accustomed to in games like Destiny 2 and The Division 2. So this is very interesting, guys. This is very important, right? The studio has been adamant that it's not treating Outriders as a service game. The developers I spoke with did not want to talk about DLC, microtransactions, or post-launch roadmaps. So I think that's really good. Okay, first of all, that's a very good thing that they don't even want to talk about like a post-launch roadmap. They just want to release the game in its full, entirety. They don't want to talk about DLC. They don't want to talk about microtransactions. They just want to get the game out there and get people playing it. Instead, they said they're focused on treating Outsiders like a complete game right out of the box, at least when it comes to the story, to the game's story. Ruben, who comes to Outsiders having previously helped write Assassin's Creed 2, Destiny, and a number of Telltale games, talked up Outriders' multiple hours of cutscenes spread out across the main campaign, as well as side missions and the Hollywood-level direction of it all. Whether these scenes will lead anywhere interesting is another question. The handful of scenes I saw left me wanting to learn more. The central mystery around the anomaly makes it hard to predict where the game will go from there. It's a very brutal World War I level trench warfare at the beginning, and then it goes on and becomes something totally fantastic and different and weird, said Ruben. If anything, we kind of looked at Heart of Darkness and the journey from the known into the unknown for guidance. Other shooters like Far Cry 3 and Spec Ops: The Line have also taken inspiration from Joseph Conrad's colonialist novel with varying degrees of success. It remains to be seen whether Outriders will be using that literary touchstone to effectively interrogate the human condition, or simply to try and give its hyperviolence a veneer of respectability. So, guys, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this story, about everything that encompasses Outriders. I think this is going to be something special. It does look like Destiny a little bit. It does look like Gears of War a little bit. Heart of Darkness, the same thing. But I think that they're saying all the right things, and obviously, guys, we're going to have to wait as time gets closer, because maybe microtransactions will be something in the game that they just throw in there. But I think that People Can Fly are the types of developers that they like to have a very clear creative vision, and overall, it doesn't sound like they are very focused at all about that post-launch content, about those microtransactions, about DLC. They just want to bring the game out, and maybe we'll get free DLC. That would be something that would be absolutely amazing. But what do you guys think about Outriders? From what you've heard so far about this game, what are your guys' take on it? I would love to hear from all of you guys in the comment section below. And for more Outriders videos and content, stay here with Zero TV. It's been a long time since we really heard anything about an addition or continuation of the Guitar Hero franchise, a franchise that was so popular. I mean, if you think about it, it was really popular along with other games that came out after it, like Rock Band and, just a lot of these games that really were entertaining and were kind of games that were really like party games, right? Where we would play them with like our friends, and when there's, big get-togethers, you play some Guitar Hero, and it was a lot of fun. Well, what happened to Guitar Hero, a franchise and a series of games that had so much popularity and then all of a sudden just disappeared out of nowhere? So let's talk about it. The decline in the hiatus of Guitar Hero went from about 2009 to 2015. The results of the expanded offerings did not contribute well to the series alongside the late 2000s recession. Sales of most rhythm games, including Guitar Hero and DJ Hero, did not meet expectations, falling about 50% short of projected targets. Activision announced it would be cutting back to only 10 SKUs within 2010 instead of the 25 in 2009. Though Red Octane and Neversoft continued to develop the sixth main game, which was Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, until its completion, both studios were later shuttered by Activision, moving key personnel into Activision directly for future game development, and in the case of Neversoft, closing its Guitar Hero division, while transferring future development duties for the series to Vicarious Visions, another Activision studio which had been fundamental in building the Wii and Nintendo DS versions of the games. In November 2010, Activision also closed Budcat Creations, the arm of the publisher that was primarily responsible for porting the Guitar Hero games to the PlayStation 2. Ahead of Activision's 2010 fourth quarter financial report in February of 2011, Activision disbanded its Guitar Hero business unit and announced that it would cease development of the planned 2011 Guitar Hero game. Activision cited continued declines in the music genre to explain its decision. The closure also affected the DJ Hero series, as Activision stated that there were no plans to publish a music game during 2011. Activision's vice president, Dan Winters, later clarified that the company was just putting Guitar Hero on hiatus and that they were just not making a new game for next year. That's all. But in a July 2011 interview with Forbes, Kotick stated that while the publisher was going to stop selling Guitar Hero altogether, they were going to go back to the studios and were going to use new studios and reinvent the series. But a former team member of Vicarious Vision stated that as of 2012, all development of Guitar Hero had come to an end within Activision. Another source close to Vicarious Visions had reported to Kotaku that while Guitar Hero 7 was in development under an Activision studio, the game was considered a disaster. The canceled game omitted the additional instruments and used only a guitar peripheral, redesigning the unit to include a 6-button mechanism replacing the strum bar. The resulting unit was considered too expensive to manufacture and purchase. The developers had also started the game development from scratch to try to create new characters and venues that would be more reactive to the actual songs being played to give the feel of a music video, but ultimately this proved too much of a challenge and had to be scrapped. Further, with the limited budget, the song selection was limited to a low-budget hits of the 1990s, or at times reusing songs that had previously been included in Guitar Hero games. Though the team had a 2-year development cycle, it was closed down after Activision president Eric Hirshberg had seen the current state of the project at the 1-year point. So look, guys, it was a disaster. Ultimately ended in disaster, Guitar Hero. And it's really sad. Here's the thing, is I think a lot of people compare Guitar Hero to Call of Duty. People think, oh, Call of Duty comes out every single year. It's going to, end up, what's going to happen to Call of Duty is what happened to Guitar Hero. Is it just a decline over time? I think there were a number of things that really went wrong for Guitar Hero. Number one was during the recession of 2008 to 2009, really 2007 to 2009. Then the ripple effects of that kind of continued onwards. But Guitar Hero was a very popular game, but I think the aggressiveness that Activision took with Guitar Hero, like they do with Call of Duty, two completely different types of games. Guitar Hero really should have been one of those games that would come out like they would have a Guitar Hero and pretty much it just gets updated over time. Maybe they make a second one and a third one over time, but certainly not a series that should be made every single year like Call of Duty. Activision learned their lesson with this, obviously, but it was just, ended up really an utter disaster. Another potential Guitar Hero project was discovered by the archival site Unseen64 for a game titled Hero World, a massively multiplayer online game that would link the Guitar and DJ Hero games. The game had been developed by Freestyle Games sometime after the release of DJ Hero 2, with the main development duties passed to Virtual Fairground using their platform, The Ride, an Adobe Flash-based platform that would let the game be played in a web browser. The game was canceled in 2011 along with other pending Guitar Hero projects. No further downloadable content for either Guitar Hero or DJ Hero was made after February 2011, though Activision committed to releasing content that was already in development by that time due to fan response. Later, in a move described by Game Informer as the final nail in the coffin, Activision announced it would discontinue all DLC sales for the series without revoking access to tracks already bought as of March 31st, 2014. Though Activision had moved away from the Guitar Hero series, the lessons learned helped them and developer Toys for Bob to handle the manufacturing and outsourcing issues that came with the highly successful Skylanders toy and video game franchise. So just utterly, a massive disaster, guys, when we talk about Guitar Hero and what happened. It just felt like such a disservice because this was a series that was really entertaining. I feel the same way about Rock Band. I felt like these games, they were popular for a time, but then all of a sudden, I just feel that a lot of times with video games, a lot of things are kind of cyclical, right? So like right now, what's popular? Like Battle Royale, some of the shooters are still popular. Massive, online multiplayer games are really popular. But at some point or another, I believe that this is like a series, Guitar Hero, that would become popular at some point in gaming history. So if I were Activision, I would think about selling the IP. That would just be, my personal take on it. Now, as far as Guitar Hero, Live's Guitar Hero TV was shut down. According to Owen Good of Polygon, Guitar Hero Live streaming music service Guitar Hero TV will close down in December, effectively cutting the game's accessible library to just 42 songs. When it launched in October 2015, Guitar Hero TV eschewed paid downloadable content to expand the game's song library, where songs were made free in a rotation, although some were also accessible through microtransactions. The trade-off is that the song catalog, which Ars Technica notes stands at 484, would only be available as long as Activision supported. Apparently, the end of their licensing agreements comes in December, so out goes it all. And this article was obviously written in 2018, guys, so a couple of years ago. Just really unfortunate, guys. In all, Guitar Hero, I feel was done a disservice by having a new game almost every year, like a Call of Duty title. They treated Guitar Hero. Look, Activision isn't perfect, but I believe that they actually get a lot more, they catch a lot more flack than I think that they deserve. But this is one of those games that I feel that they just overextended that, and they were just an oversaturation of these games, without a doubt, is what ultimately ended this thing. Guitar Hero Live launched on October 20, 2015 on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Wii U, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Our review scored the game a 9 and praised Guitar Hero TV, saying there's so much room for discovery just by channel surfing the service. Guitar Hero Live, along with Rock Band 4, briefly rekindled the music gaming genre on the current console generation after going dormant for the 5 years following Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock 2010 release. And so, and then of course, if we look at what ended up, happening here, guys, all in all, right, there was significant cultural impact when it came to the rock band, but also, Guitar Hero all in all. The big issue here was oversaturation. And what I'll say is, okay, there's a timeline, right, of the North American releases for Guitar Hero from 2005 to 2011. You had, in 2005, you had Guitar Hero, right? Guitar Hero 2 came out 2006. And then 2008, you had Rock of the 80s, Legends of Rock in 2007. And then you had in 2008, On Tour Aerosmith, On Tour Decades World Tour. and then, or you had On Tour, Decades World Tour, and then in 2009, you have DJ Hero 5, Smash Hits, On Tour, Modern Hits, Metallica, Van Halen, Band Hero. I mean, just the amount of oversaturation in 2009 had to have been the utter, just complete collapse of this franchise. You're trying to push out so much in a time of recession. It's just unsustainable. Many critics believe that the number of releases of Guitar Hero games was milking the brand and oversaturating the market. Parappa the Rapper creator Masaya Matsura stated that the video game market was growing stale and needed to move beyond games that simply challenged the player to mimic the playing of licensed music. Ryan Geddes of IGN stated that he hit the wall with playing along music games and challenged the game makers to explore other ways to combine music and video games. Analysts stated that such games must continue to innovate instead of just providing more songs in order to prevent genre fatigue. Jesse Divnich of Electronic Entertainment and Design Research commented that, much like Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Hero and other music games explosively grew initially due to significant new features from other games, but have become stagnant due to focusing on content over features, and suggested that for the genre to continue to grow, they must look to incremental changes as done with the first-person shooter genre. Former CEO of Red Octane, Kelly Sumner, believed that Activision abused the series as they tried to get too much out of the franchise too quickly, and I would agree with that. They did. They tried to get too much out of it too quickly. This would be like Call of Duty coming out with multiple games in a matter of a year. One a year is almost too much. But really, they do such a good job with Call of Duty that, have multiple development teams on it. And that's what kind of helps Call of Duty, is it's pretty much fresh every single year, even though the core of it kind of stays the same. But with this, it's pretty much rinse and repeat with Guitar Hero. And, when you have so many titles coming out in 1 year, a year that's within recession, it's kind of bad. But any year would be bad, really, for that. The series has also been criticized for its release model in contrast to the Rock Band series, causing some players to hold contempt towards Activision. Harmonix considered the Rock Band series as a music platform and supported it with downloadable content and the ability to import songs from its games and expansions into most other games of the series. Critics argued that Guitar Hero would have been doing the same either through releasing expansions that could be incorporated in the main games of the series or by issuing the songs as downloadable content. The release of Guitar Hero Smash Hits, reworking older songs from the series to full instrument band support for otherwise adding to additional material, was called the definition of milking by reviewers, with no observable technical limitation as to why the songs could not be added as downloadable content. So I do think it really was the definition of milking. However, what I am going to say about this is that Guitar Hero as a franchise, I think it's one of those franchises that should have come out, once every 5 years at least, if not, even longer than that. Doing downloadable content and things of that nature, adding new songs, I think would be great. But I do believe, guys, that there still is something here. Even though it was milked for so long and people have a sour taste in their mouth after all these years with, Activision. Activision is still, obviously Activision, they get a lot of flack because of some of the decisions that they make, but they also own some of the biggest IPs in the world. And look, they are the biggest game development company on earth. They're the biggest publisher on earth, right? And so when you look at that, it's like, of course they're going to get more flack than other people because they're the biggest. But at the same time, this was an issue. And this is what happened to Guitar Hero at this point. Will they ever make another one? I would think that if Activision doesn't want anything to do with it anymore, sell the IP so that they can come back at some point or another and can have some fresh set of eyes, some fresh set of just talent based around this around this franchise. And I think people or developers and other publishers would jump on the opportunity to buy IP like Guitar Hero. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they would. The large number of Guitar Hero and Rock Band titles on the market is considered to be partially responsible for the sharp decline of music game sales in the latter half of 2009, along with the effects of the late 2000s recession. The market of rhythm games was $1.4 billion in 2008, but dropped to $700 million, a 50% decrease in 2009, even though more titles were available that year. Former Never Stop project director Brian Bright noted that at one point in 2009, they were responsible for the release of 3 games that year, Guitar Hero 5, Metallica, and Band Hero, and supporting other studios for the development of 2 additional games, causing the studio to lose focus both in development and marketing efforts. So all in all, guys, when you have a niche kind of game like Guitar Hero that is a, basically kind of like a party game, right? Similar to that of like, Rock Band and all those other games, right, that came out around this time. Not saying that it shouldn't be a popular series, because it should be. It should have its place in the gaming ecosystem. But when it's done in the way that Activision did it, it's not going to, it just isn't going to work out. It's just not. I mean, obviously, it's just unsustainable. And oversaturation is what killed pretty much all these games. But it's like, look, if there's definitely room for, improvement, but there's also room for these to exist and coexist in gaming now. All in all, it remains to be seen if we're going to see continuations of Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and games of that nature, or if we're going to see completely new IPs moving forward, which might be something that a lot of developers are kind of thinking about doing at some point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you guys think really happened to Guitar Hero and its demise? And do you think Guitar Hero will at some point make a comeback? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Guitar Hero content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.